dog control orders. Well, nobody was given that. There's no, number one. Let me just explain something. Number one, there's no signs to state that there is an act in place. Okay, that's number one. Okay, that's the first and foremost. There is no act. There's no sign. There's no notices to state that there is an act in place. Right. So therefore, how would any member of the public be aware that there is an act in place if it's not visibly, if it's not seen? That's like saying that's like a parking enforcement agent trying to enforce a parking ticket on somebody or on a vehicle rather when there's no notices put up. That's the first point. Number two, it doesn't state whether this is a law or an act.
Well, it is. That's the second. That's the act.
It's an act, right? So therefore, you are aware of the difference between an act, a statute, and a law.
Yes.
Okay, could you explain that to me then? Because it's quite clear to me that you have no idea what the difference is.
What it is, what they've done, the council or the authority has taken time to publicise the, that particular requirement, legal requirement.
Act.
Yes.
Yeah, a legal requirement, not a lawful requirement, by the way.
It is lawful.
No, it's not lawful. No. Let me just explain to you the difference between what is legal and what is lawful. Just for the record, let me explain, right? Yeah. I'm a contract law solicitor. That's hence why I know quite a substantial amount of information on law. Okay? Yeah. Now, the difference between a statute, which is an act of parliament, and a law, okay, which is the law of the land, common law, is quite simply, if you are you aware of what the Black's Law Dictionary is?
I might have come across it.
Okay, right. Well, it gives a legal printed definition of any legal printed words. Yeah. So you could take this into any court in the land, and no judge, nobody in that court could argue that word means that thing. Okay. Now, when you look up the word statute, it says that it is a legislative rule of a society that is given the force of law by consent of the governed. Are you aware of what that means?
No.
Okay, right. It means that only the governed, i.e. the public, can give those words the force of law by consenting to it. Right? Or it can be reached by two ways, either consent or assent. And assent means not confirming. So if you give me a notice and I ignore the notice, then you have gained the consent that you need in order to do that. Bearing in mind, I've now approached you and I've objected that act being enforced. Okay, so therefore you cannot enforce that as a law. Under actual common law, you cannot enforce a statute that any governed has not consented to. I am not consenting to it. I'm pretty sure that everybody else in this property will do exactly the same. Okay, so therefore, I'd rather just wait. I'd not have you waste your time in your paperwork and write out forms and stuff. I'm just explaining to you, right? Therefore, number one, you got to realise, for any act to be enforced, number one, it needs consent. That's the first and foremost. Number two, it needs to be clearly defined in places, regardless of whether the council have put together some sort of a fancy package or something, or put together loads of different statutes or whatever.
They put it in the Gazette.
But
on the website.
That's not for the public.
But
that's not being put up in the public. Parking signs quite clearly have to be stated. Same with dog signs. Same with anything. When you walk into a park, it clearly states before when you walk into a park.
Yes, they do have
that. You have that. When you walk into when you drive or walk across the borough, the borderline, there is no such markings stating that dogs must be placed upon the lead. There is no such markings. I've done extensive research into this. Hence why, because I've got a dog, so I know what the law says. Okay, I know what the law says, and I know what Acts of Parliament say. Acts of Parliament can only be enforced by my consent anyway. That's the first and foremost. Okay. The second very, very important thing is that there is no clear markings. If there was clear markings, I've got nothing to say, because you've clearly notified me. I've ignored that notice or not responded to that notice. Okay. It's as simple as that. So therefore, I'd rather you just save yourself some paperwork, mate, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is the fine that you issue will be liable to you because you're the person that issued it.
Yeah, that's fine, because that's my role. I enforce upon those particular requirements that, legally people within, the members of the community have to, abide by. That's
within reason. I mean,
within reason. If there were a reasonable excuse.
No, I'm not. There's no such thing as an excuse at the end of the day.
Defense.
Okay, right. But it's what's the difference between what is legal and what is lawful? And at the end of the day, I act within a common law jurisdiction, not a common legal jurisdiction. Okay?
Those are part of the common law. I mean,
no. It's an act of parliament. Please listen to what I'm saying to you. An act of parliament is not, under any circumstances, it is not by a long shot under the common law jurisdiction. Hence why it's called an act of parliament.
Okay, what my role is to enforce. Okay.
Those
things. But what happens?
Your role is to write out tickets and create revenue. At the end of the day, that's why your company is called Law Enforcement. London Borough of.
I'm from the council. No, it's not a company. It's a body.
That's just like saying, just because I work from the council, I'm from the council. That doesn't make any sense. You're not employed by Newham Council.
I am.
No, you're not. No, my friend. Listen, I could take you inside my house and show you on Dun and Brad Street now. London Borough of Newham Law Enforcement is a private organisation that trades for profit. Yeah. On Dun and Brad Street, you can look it up. They have about 36 million different companies, registered companies. Yeah. It's basically a credit agency, so you can check the credit history of any company that is registered on there, right? And it's 100% above board. There's no kind of you can even I'll give you an example. Even the United Kingdom, right, trades as a private organisation, for instance. Okay, London Borough of Newham Law Enforcement is a private organisation that trades for profit. It's as simple as that. Okay.
I'm not aware of it because.
Well, of course, so you're just doing a job, and I totally employ. Listen, everybody's got a job to do, and I totally understand that. But trust me, you're not enforcing a law; you're enforcing a legality. Yeah, and there is a clear difference. Even in the statute, a statute is not a law. And to be able to if you don't know the difference, then that's fair enough. But if you do know the difference, which you now do, failure to differentiate between a statute and a law is gross negligence, which is equal to fraud.
Well, I mean, that could be taken up by the decision makers in terms of actually
not really, because
giving the direction, giving the powers to do that.
I'm bringing this information to you. So basically, it's not for you. If you want to continue and write it, believe me, you're going to be liable for the fine. I'm just warning you right now, because that's basically what will happen. You will be liable for the fine. And it's a Sunday. I don't really want, you don't want to. For the sake of whatever it is, £20, £40 or whatever, you don't want to be paying that out your wages next month. Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't know how that will be dealt with, but
because it's a very, very simple thing.
Yeah.
It's a very, very simple thing. What you're trying to do is enforce a statute. Yeah, a statute can only be enforced by consent of me, the governed. Because I don't consent to it, and I haven't consented to it, and I have openly not consented to it. You've got it on video recording, I've got it on video recording, so we're both on the same page here. So all I have to do is just bring this in. I'm just trying to save you some hassle and some money, because basically what will happen is, once they try to rescind it, whoever issued it will be responsible for it, because you have been given clear notice, verbal notice, by the way. If you want it in writing, I'll give it to you in writing. Give me 5 minutes. It's not a problem. But you've been given notice that what you are doing, is not in accordance with common law. Okay, so therefore, because of that, and based upon that and that alone, you will be the one that is responsible for the fine that you've issued. So someone will have to pay it. Someone has to pay it. As simple as that.
Yeah. What I could kindly request, as you say, all that is recorded, but if you put it in writing.
No, I don't need to. I've already got it on recording. I'm telling you. That's it. I don't mean to sound rude by saying, but I am telling you that what you're doing, what you're about to do, is just going to be a waste of your own time, because you're literally writing money out of your own wages. That's what you're about to do. Okay. So if you want to go and do it, be my guest. You're more than entitled to.
Okay, fair enough. What I'll do, because I need to speak to the lady who got in with the dog.
But this is my property. So.
Yeah, that's fine. But I would have liked to speak to the lady.
Yeah, but again, this is my property, so any issues or any problems will be addressed by me.
Okay, that's fine. If you leave that with me, we'll come back if there's any issues on that.
Well, we can deal with this here and now. I won't be. I'm going to be away for the entire duration of the next 2-3 weeks. So
no, it doesn't matter. I mean, we can still come back and give you, notice when we could come visit.
No. But you can do it here and now. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You can do it here and now.
Because what I need is to speak to the lady, and then I issue.
What is it for?
I've already outlined to you.
Yeah, no. I mean, no. Why do you need to speak to her for?
Well, because
the dog is mine.
But
it's my dog.
The person was with the dog.
That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. You can't issue a fine to a person based upon the dog. You have to issue the fine to the dog.
No, the person
or the owner of the dog. Sorry, the owner. Yeah, I'm the owner.
In charge at that time, responsible for it at that time, is the one who is committing the offence, not necessarily the dog owner.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Here we go again, baby. Yeah. Come here. You got to go and give this nonsense because you're the one with the dog. Come here. No, babe, please. Otherwise, this is going to drag out for ages. More paperwork, more long things. No. You don't have to consent. That's the whole point. Just come. Just come. Remember, don't give your name. You're not obliged to. All right. Don't give no information. You're not obliged to. Okay. Right. Let's sort this out.
I just witnessed you. That's why I approached you. On the street, I witnessed you walking the dog without a lead on. That's why I approached you. Okay. But obviously, you didn't want to engage at that time.
Yeah, how are you getting on with the police?
Okay. So that's myself, law enforcement officer from the council.
And your name is?
Onesmus Ludi. Okay.
Excellent.
So what I'm going to do, obviously, because I witnessed the offence, and within my powers, I'm duty bound to deal with that in a way of a fine.
It's fine.
That's the way it is.
Under law, you're not obliged to give your information to anybody that you don't see fit to. That's under law. I know, but you've got to go through the formalities here, because otherwise, what will happen is, it'll drag out for a long time. Alright, yeah, go on. Otherwise, what happens is it drags out for a long period of time. I'm going to be away, and I ain't going to have enough time to deal with this notice significantly. So I'd rather it's dealt with now, here and now.
Okay, that's fine.
Bearing in mind, you are aware that under law, nobody is obliged to give any information that they don't see fit.
To, but obviously,
I know that.
Seek to.
Well, you could attempt to seek to.
Yes.
But bearing in mind, if you haven't got consent to do that, anything that you do in terms of seeking any information upon any specific person or human being will be contravening both the United Nations Human Rights Declaration, section Article 17, and also the Data Protection Act, section 4.
Okay.
So bearing in mind, again, that's been under audio and video surveillance. If you do attempt to try and make any kind of recollection of who this person is without consent, you're committing fraud.
I'm not, because what it is, obviously, we have to. It's the you're trying to ascertain the identity of that person.
Yeah, but if you don't have consent to do that, you don't have consent to do that. That's the thing. We're not going to be giving you any consent to do that.
Yeah, but I've got the delegated powers to.
No, you don't have any delegated powers if they are removed from you, which we have done so, and we've just clearly established about what's lawful and what's legal. Yeah, we've just done that about 5 minutes ago. Okay, so I'm only giving you forewarning so that when you do this, if you still go ahead and try to do this, when the bricks come tumbling down on top of you and you say, well, why did this happen? Look this back. Look, I'll give you. I can easily send your company a copy of this as well. Not a problem, right?
That's fine. You would appreciate that.
And that's the only reason why. So again, go ahead. But again, like I say, if you attempt, or your company makes any attempt in any way, shape, or form to try to gain any information on people or persons or human beings in this address, you'll be committing fraud, because you do not have our consent. That's both from myself, this person, and I can guarantee you'll get that same thing from the person that's remaining in the building upstairs as well. Okay?
So what I need to do is ask, have you got some identification to show?
No, she's not obliged to give you that information.
Okay. And would you give the information? No. Okay.
She's not going to be obliged. Don't have to say no, babe. Bearing in mind, look, we're trying to do this in a peaceful manner. We're trying to do this in a I
don't know why you called me out here.
Okay, babe, because without you, if it was me, it would be a problem, because I could deal with this here and now on my own. But the problem is that he needs you, because you're the person that he has suspected of committing an offence under the Act. That's it. Bearing in mind, you haven't consented to it. There's no legal notices, so it doesn't stand up. It never has done.
I was never informed of whatever he's talking about.
I know you're not. That's the thing. Yeah, I know. We know this, but. Don't be it's no. He's just doing. No, don't be annoyed with him. He's just doing the job, babe. Yeah. It's not his fault. He's just doing the job. That's what. Well, not really, because we can all say it's me that's wasting your time. If anything, we need to say is am I obliged? If not, no. If yes, then fine. That's all we need to do, babe. That's all it is. All right? Okay. Let's get this over with. Right, sorry, go on, carry on.
Yeah, so all I need is your name, address, and some form of ID to show who you are. That's it.
Am I obliged to give you that?
Well, I do request.
We've observed him from people's face.
Yeah, because obviously I can't force you to give that information.
Nobody can, of course, yeah.
But, I'll probably.
Personal information. I haven't received notice of anything that you're trying to enforce, so until I receive notice of whatever it is, policies you're trying to follow, then I'm sorry. I wasn't informed of this, so how would I possibly know why you would want to stop me?
Obviously, that's been publicised way back last year.
I've never heard of